Now again, I said graphing is good when the answer is a clean-cut answer. But if the answer is not a clean-cut answer, we have to use substitution or elimination. Let's review substitution. I say review because I know you did this in Algebra 1. Here are your steps. Solve for either x or y. P.S. Please pick the one that looks easiest. Substitute that into the other equation. Find the value, whether it's x or y, and it's fine if it's a fraction, just use your calculator. And plug that answer back and find into either of the equations and find the other value. Now that's a lot of steps, but how about we actually solve one? So in problem 1, when you eye up both equations, I hope you notice the first equation is more simple. Out of the first equation, I hope you notice y is in simplest form. In other words, it's just a positive 1y. That means I'm going to, in step 1, I am going to move the 2x to the other side. Not just because I'm making it y equals mx plus b, but because y was clean cut. It was by itself. So that's step number 1, looking up above. Step number 2 is to take what y equals and put it into the other equation for y. So I'm going to try to draw an arrow so you can visually see what I'm doing. And I'm going to keep my 3x, I'm going to keep my plus and my 4, but I'm going to take out the y and put in negative 2x plus 10 from step 1. And then that equals 12. This is step number 2. Now I'm going to distribute 3x. Let's see, when I distribute a positive 4, I'm going to get negative 8x plus 40 equals 12. Now it's a matter of solving. So I'm going to combine my like terms and get negative 5x plus 40 equals 12. I'm going to take away 40 from both sides, bring down the negative 5x. 12 minus 40 is negative 28, and divide each side by negative 5. So I have my x value as, that's going to make a positive 28 over 5 when I reduce. Now all we have to do is that, so this would be step number 3. All of this is solving. Step number 4 is going to take this answer we just got and put that into, I always like to put it back into this box that I originally had. You can put it in anywhere that you see an x to get a y. I just think it's easier to put it into that box. So step number 4, I'm going to write y equals negative 2 times, I just got x, so I'm going to take that x away, 28 over 5 plus 10. All right, get your handy-dandy calculator. Negative 2 times 28 over 5 plus 10 as a fraction is negative 6/5. Negative 6/5. I don't know if I said that funny or not. Now, if we were to graph this one and try to figure out where it intersected, that would be crazy. We would have no idea. We would have to take a random guess. So the solution is much better found by substitution. And you do 28 over 5, comma, negative 6 over 5. If you insist on writing a decimal, this one would be okay because it would be a clean-cut decimal. Like there's no repeating numbers or anything. So I would allow that. Let's try again. So both of these equations, looking at both of them, I really want to say one's better than the other. But because like none of these have x or y by themselves. So I personally would probably pick the second one. And the reason I pick the second one is because there's a 2 in front of x. And I don't mind dividing by 2. Dividing by 2 is a pretty nice thing to divide by. I would never divide by 3 though, because that's really ugly. So I'm going to pick the second equation, and I'm going to pick to solve for x because x has a coefficient of 2. So in order to do that, I have to move my 3y to the other side. So I get 2x equals 3y minus 4 because of the negative 4. I'm going to divide by 2, and because dividing by 2 is a clean-cut decimal, I'm going to allow us to use decimals. So 3 divided by 2 is 1.5y. Negative 4 divided by 2 makes minus 2. I have just done step number 1. I solved for either x or y, and I chose the easiest one. I didn't mind that I had to divide by 2, so I chose x. Step number 2. I'm going to take this and plug it into x in the other equation. Now, does everybody see the other equation right here? Does everybody see that x? I'm going to take that x away. I'm going to put in what I have in my box. So this is step number 2. I'm just going to kind of move to the right. Keep the 4. Do not keep the x. Make it 1.5y minus 2. Then the plus 5y. Then the equals 18. Distribute in. 4 times 1.5 is 6y. Minus 8 plus 5y equals 18. 6 plus 5y, when we combine our like terms, is 11y minus 8 equals 18. Add 8. 11y equals 26. Divide by 11, and you can see we have a really ugly answer of 26 over 11, but it is right. That's step 3, solving for a variable after substituting in. This is what it's called substitution because we substituted in. Take this answer. I like to personally put it back into the box. So after I like to go back to the box. You could put it anywhere you wanted as long as you solve for x. I think it's easy to put it in the box. So step number 4. X equals 1.5 times 26 over 11 minus 2. Ugly, but doable, especially now that we have our calculator. Ready? 1.5 times 26 over 11. What do we got to do? Minus 2 after that. Change it to a fraction because that is a super ugly decimal. We get positive 17 over 11. X equals 17 over 11. It's always nice once we get our 2 final answers to write them out on the side. That way I see you know it would be a point on the graph. You would never be able to solve that using graphing, by the way. You would have no idea that, oh, that crosses at 17 elevenths and 26 elevenths.